Let's see.
Yeah.
All right, well, I will call to order the special board meeting. It's a public meeting today of January 4th, 2023 at 6:23. The primary purpose of this meeting is to discuss the agenda items listed below. Any additional business must be approved by a vote if all members of the board are present. All members are not present. Jason is not here this evening, therefore we cannot have any other business other than what's on the agenda. Any public comments? Hearing none, we will move to the first item of business.
That's you, Janet. You have nothing?
What's wrong, Michael? Huh?
He's
Nothing?
public too, he said, Kathy.
Well, I figured you'd be standing right up. So no public comment. First item, it's my mistake. When we had our board meeting, I had a couple of dates that were mixed up. I indicated that we would have to review this. We would do it at the special meeting, which is tonight. So I have attached the schedule. Tuesday, April 25th is the correct date. I changed it on what I've submitted here to the 18th, but that's the time for the MTA conference, and that was the one that Sharon wanted moved and not messing around with March. The other two was a transposition error, it should be August 15th and September 19th. I think I had those two reversed. So if there are any comments associated with those changes,
The 25th, Alan, is because the prior week is MTA conference all week.
yep, I know that.
And so if the Tuesday afterwards, it's not good for anybody, I've got dates other dates if anyone wants, but that's the date I suggested.
Say it again, I'm not following what you're reading.
If you have a different date other than the week following on a Tuesday, say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, then
If the,
If I have a date that I prefer?
yeah,
Right.
Oh, no, it's fine.
okay.
Okay.
all right, so board, the change is Tuesday, April 25th, Tuesday, August 15th, Tuesday, September 19th, and we did agree that the meetings would begin at 7 PM. We did not move it to being earlier. So I will entertain a motion to accept the schedule for the 2023-24 regular board meeting schedule.
I will make that motion to the 2023 regular board meeting schedule as presented.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the 2023 regular board meeting schedule with January 16th, 2024, beginning at 7 PM. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Second item on business is tonight's main objective. That is developing a budget for the pay rates for the Torch Lake Township. And this evening, that will be everything on the left-hand side of the page. I sent out 2 pages for everybody. The first one was where we are in 2022, 2023. And then the other page has all zeros so that we can work on filling that out. Just to go through things so that we know where we're going to be, we have to pass at the January 17th meeting, the resolutions for the pay schedule and for each of the elected officials, the offices of the elected officials. So we have to get that much done either tonight or we can continue going on into next week as I put it on the agenda.
We need to make some corrections to the current rates sheet that you handed out.
It was amended on 5/17 of 2022.
Yeah, and I do not have that one. So I understand the idea is
Right. Doesn't matter what is there, but we just got to work
It's
on what
not
it needs to be. Yeah.
I think, I know that the payroll roll went to $30. I wasn't aware of anything else.
The clerk's salary is not 27,550, it's 26,480. And the trustees are not 6,000, they are 5,575.
All right.
I'm just making the comment that if anyone was looking at those and then saw the raise, they
Yeah.
might think the raises were
Yep.
not appropriate.
Let me go get it. Excellent. I'll be right back.
I can print a new one out if you want.
I can make copies.
Oh, okay. Oh, mine's got notes all over it. Mine's got notes all over it.
That's fine, we'll just write it down. Kath, what were the two numbers?
The clerk is actual 26,480, and trustee is actual 5,575. And payroll clerk is 30.
Will you give me the second one again, Kathy?
Yep, 5,575,
For who?
the trustees,
Your pay.
yours. Instead of 6.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right. Okay, I got it.
I didn't look at anything on the right-hand side,
They're all good.
but
Well, what we're going to do, Mike and Kevin will be here next week to present their proposals for what the pay rates they think should be
for the
based on
areas.
market conditions and things. So,
Okay.
So we're not working on that.
so we're not working on the right-hand side, we're only working on the left-hand side.
Oh, they will be here.
They will be here.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Yeah, I think that, last year we were going around and around on these rates, and I think it's important that they come in and give us their opinions. It's a working session,
Mhm.
and I think it's valuable input. I had a meeting with them today. They had some different ideas about the pays and things, so I think it's good they come and present it to us. So on the left-hand side, I guess, in
I was
thinking,
going to bring a calculator and I didn't.
I didn't
Yeah,
either. I didn't bring my phone's at home.
I don't know if you took the time back in November to review the pay. The highlights, in my opinion, was the fact that they thought the increases should be roughly 3% for people, and that there should be an incremental increase in the treasurer's position because that particular salary was somewhat below what the other averages are. And I guess Milton's, if you look at it, Milton's salary is for the treasurer, rounded 35,000. Elk Rapids is 24,000. Sharon right now is at 30,000.
I think you got to look at what the comments were along with that.
This was Elk Rapids Township? Do you know? We don't know.
Well, it was Milton, Elk Rapids, Whitewater, and Banks.
Right, okay.
So I think in terms of
Oh, yeah.
what we have going on here, I'm open for the
It was-
dialogue. If you remember, Jairus stated that the increase at the county level was going to be 4%. Right now, the state tax is 5% increase, right, Sharon?
Mhm.
And if you listen to the news, the rates are 6-7%.
What is going to be our assessment factor? Do you know yet? Do you have an idea? Is it
No, it's
3.5?
too early. We don't have it.
Don't have it yet?
Yeah, no.
Okay. It's because that's the rate of inflation. It's going to be, well, no, it's going to be less than 5%.
Well, what they came out with, Sharon, was 7%.
Is that so?
Yeah, but because of the Headley, right, you can't go above 5%. So that's why it's 5. But they came out, Sharon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Amy told us it was like 7.2%.
Oh,
So you were using
I
5,
don't-
yeah, you were using 5 in your study. Okay, well then 4 is not awful. Because all the reports I see, we can expect more inflation this year. It's based on properties sales. Up here, I don't know if that will count. 6 of one, half a dozen of another, but we wouldn't be 0, and I don't think 3% is adequate.
well, I think what the survey was looking at, they were taking into account the deputies. Deputy treasurer over there is 10,400. They were using deputy wages in a total across the board. It's like Milton's is 45,000 and that type of a thing. So, Mr. Supervisor, may I go get my calculator?
Sure.
I forgot, I knew I wanted to bring it.
That way you can do it for all of us. I don't have to try to do that. You know, this was the dilemma we had last year. That's why I'm kind of breaking it up and having other people come in here instead of us trying to go through every one of these line items in one meeting. There was one input from an individual related to the park coordinator that
Thank you.
because that person found trying to track all of their hours, because some of it came and went in relatively small increments, that maybe we look at some type of base pay plus if they have to work a schedule or something, it's a
I
consideration.
missed what you were talking about.
The park coordinator,
Oh,
because of the way we're trying to track the hours between an individual that has multiple jobs really in her role, she was asking our consideration if maybe some type of base pay per week. And then if she has to work a shift for somebody that doesn't show up, that we would treat that on a per hour basis. It was a suggestion raising the issue, and it's just something for the board to think about when we get to that point. Otherwise, if the board wants to do a flat increase and then as suggested by the comp committee, giving Sharon between a 6 and an 8% and not the regular flat rate, I'm open to suggestions.
So that would move it to what, 31.8 at 6%?
6%
I don't even
would be
know.
31.8,
At 6%?
which should be $1,800.
Correct. Well, my response to that is because she doesn't use the deputy heavily either. And I see what you just said, Sharon, that Milton relies heavily on a deputy as well.
yeah, their deputy, does all their postings and, but anyway, that was their conclusion to this.
Well, we don't have less work than they do.
Oh, we have more work than they do
Right.
sometimes.
Quite honestly, I think about where we're going to be in a couple of years, how are we going to attract people into these roles? I mean, Sharon's putting in, I don't know, more than 40-hour weeks, especially during tax seasons. And there's other times that she's putting that time in.
I'm pretty much full-time.
Well,
And
Yeah.
yeah.
so, and from a financial standpoint, she's got a lot of checks and balances that a lot of people wouldn't be doing.
Well-
And she makes sure there aren't any mistakes for the township.
When people like somebody at the counter, and being a full-time, there's no hours posted, but they come to rely on somebody being here and you're there. I can answer a lot of questions. But I'm not looking for,
Well, here's the thing. I don't think
it's
you're
intimidating.
going to stand up and tell us what you think.
No,
of your work.
very much so. I'm very intimidated.
What we need to do is, between the three of us, decide what the value is of Sharon as well as positioning for the time Sharon's not in that role, and we've got to attract somebody of that skill set.
Yeah, we've run it, you remember, Sharon, we didn't have raises for years, and suddenly we had to pump them up because we were so behind. And we don't want to get into that box again. And they're not going to go down. I mean, the work's not going to go down.
I know
So-
there's a couple of local township treasurers that have given resignations in, and they're going to be looking for more help. Several townships in the Antrim County are ready, so, as of clerks and everything else. So, I mean, people are coming and going. It's,
What's going to happen,
yeah.
the township's got to understand, what's going to happen is we're going to end up outsourcing these roles. They'll be vacant, the board's going to have to fill it, and nobody's going to run for the elections. And you're going to have to make it attractive, or if you outsource it, you're going to pay a market rate for an accounting person. I see that coming down the road. So I have a number in my mind, but before I put that on the table, Alan, what are your thoughts?
Well, I punched in 6% in my head, and it's usually at 6 to 8%. So we're, 31.8, 32,000 to round off, 32.5. We're not out of line at that level, but maybe you think more.
Kathy?
Are we just talking of just the treasurer?
Just the treasurer.
Okay. No, I would agree with their findings. Although I have said she won't appreciate it, but I think Sharon puts hours in here that she doesn't need to be here, but I know she feels that somebody should be here every day to take questions at the window, et cetera. So, but that doesn't mean she has to be here at 6:30 in the morning and stay
Sometimes
till,
7 o'clock next week for
or stay
BSNA.
till 8 o'clock at night. I mean,
I work when my
saying.
work is done, and I take on work.
All right, so Ellen, you're at
We don't-
32.5.
None of you have office hours. You have them by appointment.
No,
Yeah.
mine is not by appointment.
It's posted?
It's posted.
Well, then I read it wrong. Okay. So as long as there's somebody here, that's what I like to, at a reasonable time during the day. We have, because you know how many people come in. There's always somebody.
There's
coming in.
always someone, or the phone's always ringing.
And, I
And
mean,
it
I'd
ju-
even do that if you ever wanted me to. if you
But your
didn't have
hours are
coverage.
10 to 5, but I don't think you're ever here at 5, so
I'm going to
somebody's.
change my hours on the website.
You
I mean,
did?
Monday morning is bonkers here, as is Friday morning.
Every day is busy,
Yeah, tax time especially.
and tax time is
And
almost 8
elections.
months of the year.
Anyways, going back to what you said, again, I'll put a number at 32,000. And I think that's a fair number. That's a little bit more than that's not, a little over 6% on the 30,000. I don't think that's out of line.
I wish they would have, in this survey, I asked them to put Forest Home Township in that survey too, but they chose not to because they were so hard to reach. They don't have a website, they don't have they didn't have phones, they didn't, no emails. So I know that treasurer is much, much, much more. And I know that they don't have nearly the workload.
So my number was between 33 and 35. So you and I are relatively close on my low end number.
Well, at 35,
It's 12, 13%, I think.
That's too much.
Would you go with 10, which would get her to 33?
yeah, I think that's fair. That's not unfair at all
All right. So
for that job.
I will make the motion that the treasurer's salary be increased to 33,000, which is a 10% increase. Do I have a second?
2%.
Put in your motion the reasons
Oh,
based on the recommendations of the salary committee in relation to surrounding districts.
all right. So
And
We have a recording, right? We'll have a
Yeah.
recording.
treasurer to 33,000, 10% based on proposed rate of compensation committee and evaluation of surrounding communities, treasurer operation cost.
could we say the recommendation of the compensation committee too?
Committee.
Well, they had a proposed rate. I could say that based on a recommendation, because we're not following it.
Right.
Following
Right.
exactly. No.
Right.
So I would make the motion to increase the treasurer's salary to 33,000, 10% increase based on a recommendation rate of the comp committee and evaluation of surrounding communities' treasurer cost.
I'll second
Which-
that. If it says on the back, on their second page, we suggest that the treasurer be considered for a higher rate increase, perhaps, they say, in the 6 to 8% range, bringing the position in line with peers. Perhaps, it was a 6 to 8, we're doing 10. And I think that because Sharon does not have a lot of extra help.
Correct.
Because most of that are on her own, I think that's fair. But again, you got to think of the future. Will the next Sharon who takes that position do the same? They may want more help, and, but, so you got to watch it when you don't fund it for the person, you fund it for the position.
Well, I
But
think
if-
with the responsibilities that's going on
No problem.
in today's world, it's a whole lot more. And I think the treasurer takes on additional responsibilities, and we're not allowed to give bonuses, but those responsibilities are not going to leave her when she leaves. It's going to sit in that office because that's where the history is going to be. So the motion has been moved and seconded. I will reread the motion. Make the motion to increase the treasurer's salary to $33,000, 10% increase based on a recommendation rate of the comp committee and evaluation of surrounding communities' treasurer costs. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That passes 4-0. All right, let's do the clerk.
Well, excuse me, I liked last year when we did the flat, just, multiplied everybody times whatever we did last year, 3% or whatever. And I was assuming we were going to do something like that this year. As you recall, or may not recall, I foolishly I did make a statement by taking a reduction in my salary, and I am not prepared to do that again this year.
You didn't take
So-
a reduction, you kept it the same.
I kept it the same, reduced from what was recommended is what I'm
Right.
trying to say.
Right, it wasn't reduced, it was,
It was reduced from what was recommended,
well,
because it was not 27,550,
But that was,
but it was my own
recommended.
choice.
it was your choice, and you said you did it in
make a-
sympathy with what was
That's right.
going on in the community.
That's right.
So,
So if we're looking at, you said 3%, Bob, or 4%?
no, 3% was what the comp committee suggested.
Okay,
4% is what the
county is
county
doing,
is doing for their people.
okay.
And
Well, so my question would be the 3%, if I say 3%, is that of the current?
yes,
Well, do that math for me, somebody.
well, 4% would be $1,060 would be
1,000,
60,
well, take.
that would be
26
4%.
Take 26,480 times 1.03. What's the number? Somebody do the quick math.
He's got the
I'm not paying- I'm
calculator
not
right
paying
there.
attention. You ask me again.
Yes, take 26,480 times 1.03.
1.03, got you.
It's 27,275.
Okay. I will make the motion to raise the clerk's roll salary from by 3% to 27,275. Do I have a second?
Hold just a sec. Okay, let's second it and we can
Yeah, then
discuss it.
have a discussion on the motion,
I'll second it.
okay?
You know, again, looking at the clerk's position in terms of total compared to the other districts, we're still in that 40s, low 40s, mid 40s in terms of total cost to run that department. So we're not out of line if this, I even think it's a touch low because again, I wouldn't want to rebuild this in the future if we had to.
Right now, I think the clerk's office, I can go get the numbers if you'd like. I think we're at about 50-some thousand through 9 months for the clerk's office. And so if you run that, you're going to add somewhere another 8 or 10,000. So you're going to be at roughly 60,000 for the clerk's office. Which
You
is,
think it'll come out that
What are,
high by-
what are
by
you
March?
combining for that?
well, that's
The clerk,
everything in
the deputy,
That's a clerk, the deputy, the accounting people.
person?
The work that Sharon has to do for the payroll. So all those things are in there, and Kat, those are jobs at this point you're not in a position to do. So, and the township is not going to take that risk, and I'm just going to be upfront and honest. So I think the 3% is appropriate. I do not see the costs. In fact, I do not see the costs changing much in the clerk's office, at least for the next 2 years. So, and I'm happy to go get those numbers if the board wants to look at it. But you will be seeing them in 2 weeks when we do the general fund budget.
Kathy, you feel comfortable with 3?
Sure, yes.
All right.
Okay, okay, if you want to, I would agree with the 3%. That 27,275, is that what it was? At 3%?
You want to make it 27,300?
Yeah,
okay.
27,300.
Yeah.
Sorry. To 27,300.
$900
3% increase.
Okay.
So the motion, I'll reread the motion. The motion is to increase the clerk salary to $27,300, a 3% increase. Any further discussion?
One question, Kathy, we have no elections this year.
None that,
You're at school.
that we know of,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Next year will be a repeat of this past year,
Yep. Okay.
and probably worse, actually, but
You mean in 2 years, in 24?
yeah, 1
24.
year. We're in 23.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's all
Sure.
I'm saying.
Yep. All right, hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. We'll do the trustee next. Ellen, you've carried the ball, helping out with the accounting work and things.
Yeah, but that doesn't take a lot of time. I mean, it's not, I
But-
might spend 2 hours
Well,
on going through that material. Sometimes I have questions.
but you do the checking account and you do the check review. So there's 2 different roles you're doing.
Well, he needs to check the checks. We haven't been doing that for a long time, but
Oh,
he,
all right.
he needs to come in and get those checks from the clerks, because,
Um,
or somebody.
But it's no, again, it's not, it's,
It's mostly the statements right
most
now,
of my
Bob.
time is spent the weekend before a meeting studying all the material. That's most where my time is eaten up the most.
Well, my gut is that I would propose a 4% increase for the trustees. Given the inflation, I think that would be a fair increase. So I will make the motion to increase. Let's see, somebody's going to have
Let's
to
see,
do the
let's-
math for me.
Yeah, let's round this off.
This is,
I
I'm
hate odd
multiplying
numbers.
4% times 5,575.
Yeah.
And I did
Is,
5798, we could round it to 5,800.
yeah, 5,800.
All right. The motion to increase.
I don't want to second that motion.
No,
I can second it.
the trustee to 5,800, a 4% increase. Okay, I will make the motion to increase the trustee salary to 5,800, a 4% increase. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Motion has been moved and seconded to increase the trustee salary to $5,800, a 4% increase. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Deputy clerk,
What about supervisor?
I'm going to leave that. We'll get through the township board and the related individuals. The deputy clerk
And treasurer.
and treasurer, I would like to propose an increase of 5%, to round it to an even $21. Any discussion?
That's what I had written down here, just make it $21.
I'm not sure what that increase is. Somebody will have to do the math. It's going to be a little over 5. but-
It's 5 because it's $20 now and 5% is $1. So it's $21.
The deputy clerk,
Again, if you're asked about that, you're still sort of, except for the treasurer's position, you're still within that 6 to 8% recommended by the committee.
well,
Because
That
somebody
was-
might ask, why are we going all over the map with percentages?
Well, the deputy and the deputies had a major increase last year. They went from $15 to $20. So they had huge increase last year. So, you know, as far as percentage, if you want to look at it that way, it wasn't like,
Here's the thing.
yeah, we were catching up on our,
Mhm.
It's not only that, but I look in terms of what, a living wage, really. And percentages when you're dealing in the level of dollars that we're dealing in, it's not a lot of money. So, I feel even if the math didn't quite work at 5%, I'm not too concerned. So I will make the motion to increase the deputy clerk and deputy treasurer to $21 per hour, a 5% increase. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. It has been moved and seconded to increase the deputy clerk and the deputy treasurer to $21 per hour, a 5% increase. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We do not have a deputy supervisor any longer, so that role is not there. So now you guys can talk about the supervisor.
Well, that supervisor does a lot of work, for sure. Oops.
I'm very surprised. This must be Elk Rapids Township, is it not? This is not Elk Rapids Village.
No, it's not the village.
Okay, because at 24,000, I'm sure Amos makes more than that.
Amos is the township. He's not the village.
He is.
But they don't, it's like Milton Township. They're not in the office all the time.
Okay. Okay.
They don't,
Do you know who's the village supervisor?
it's a brand new election. They had elections. There's a brand new
Okay,
person
I
in
just
there.
not kept up. That's why. Okay, all right. Again, the thing that I look at in terms of the supervisor's position is that we need competence. We have a very, very valuable township and very valuable money-wise to the people of our township, and that's got to be maintained. I mean, it's not a good old boy township any longer. It's a lot of people from a lot of different places who have invested here and really like it. I mean, we've seen that in some of our hearings this past year. So in terms of an increase, I don't think 4 to 5% is uncalled for.
No, I agree. I put 4 in there, but not knowing the part of our discussion. I mean, he is, Bob has done terrific with our brand new monthly analysis every month. I mean, that takes a lot of time along everything else. So I would say minimum of 4%, if not more. So,
Well, I'm thinking in terms of attracting, as Bob said, in the future. Yeah. And I think that's important. What do you think, Sharon, 4 or 5?
well, how about Kathy? What's her?
And Kathy?
Well, I was going to say the 4%. Although, like Alan said, we're all over the place, so it's kind of hard to say, a flat 4% like everybody, because every position is different.
Well, I don't
We've
see
got
much
3.
difference between 32,000 and 35,000, to be honest with you, in terms of a number. So 5% is 35,000 and 4% is 32.
No, 5% would be 31.5.
I'm sorry, thank you, 31.
Yes, 31.5.
Yeah. So I would say that 5% it keeps us in line with inflation. If you don't want to get caught 3-4 years from now where you're really behind, because you've got to have there's a lot in this township that has to be maintained. I would agree with 5%.
Is that your motion?
I make a motion that the supervisors wages be raised 5% from 30,000 in 22-23 to 31.5 for fiscal year 23-24.
I'll second that.
Discussion? You sure, Bob? Good.
And I appreciate anything you do. I'm fine. So the motion on the floor is to raise the supervisor's salary from 30,000 to 31,500, which is a 5% increase. Any further discussion?
And that's taking the deputy supervisor off of there, so. Yeah,
Did he get everything on your checklist completed?
Yeah,
That's great to have had him doing those crazy
Got all the
things.
capital stuff, the stuff that's now going to be left is all the road work, which is fine.
we've got a couple
I'm
other
working with
improvements that I have in mind that I want to do, but we can do that in-house.
Well, they weren't
between
on
us.
his list. Well,
No,
I'm asking,
no.
did he get everything
Yeah.
that,
We
Bob
finished
had
up
his
the,
list.
as we talked at the last board meeting, we finished the nature preserve, the extra parking, so. All right, so the motion on the floor, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, board. All right. Now we get down into Planning Commission chairperson and commission members. Now, if you remember last year, we gave them a pretty good,
they got a
a
hefty,
really good bump.
yep, they did.
They will be doing a lot of work this year between the normal planning commission work and then passing the new zoning ordinances as proposed by our consultants and conducting those public hearings. So they will be putting in the time. Right now, we're only giving them $100 a meeting. And I would suspect that in prep work, Alan, 3 hours per meeting.
Oh, if you do it, yes. easily.
And so if you break that down, 3 hours for a meeting, 3 hours prep work, 6 hours into $100 works out, I don't know, roughly $18 an hour.
I was just looking at Milton Townships for like the chair, we pay 200, Milton pays 140. Planning commission members make $50, we pay $100.
But again, I know the
Yeah.
people don't do it for the money, but again, I want to
Yes.
respect the people.
Right.
And if we're
I-
asking them,
I don't know. I put 5% in there. But if you think that
here's what I'm thinking. If we assume 6 hours prep time and meeting time, now you can do five hours if you want, which gets you to roughly $20 an hour. If you take the 6 hours, and we know that effort varies by people.
I was going to say the prep time varies from
I know,
person to person.
But
and
you can't do it by person, you got to do it by that position. So if you do it at $6, it's like $17.75 or something if somebody does the quick math. And so given what they're going to have to do this year and on a go-forward basis to the point of the inflation, my thought is that I was looking at a standard 6 hours per meeting, and $20 per hour. And that would be $120 for the commission members. And I would go at $220 for the chairperson. Those were my two thoughts.
Well, that was $5 and $10 off of yours, so.
The chairman have to meet with planners before they doing that?
They meet with Sarah and as does the ZBA chairperson, to go through the agenda and the items that are going to be discussed. So,
I think 220 is a little light then,
okay,
because that's where the heavy thinking occurs, is up at that level.
I'm happy to bump it because again, I want to pay these people fairly.
That's right.
And I know we can't pay them market rate for what they're doing, because these people are in a much higher level than that. But the township is in a position we should reward them for the efforts and the time that they put in.
Well, the zoning board of appeals, the ZBA, we can take that secretary line out of there. We don't even need that in there. We don't even use that anymore.
Well, let's just stay with the planning commission. I'm
Oh,
not
okay,
trying to
okay.
balance.
Well, they're both the same dollars, that's what I'm
Well,
saying.
Well, my thought is that the chairs, I would look actually at both of them. The chair should, you've got you have 120 for the commission members. And I would think that the chair ought to be at 240
Okay.
for that. And that's I just think that's fair. It's not a lot of money. It's another 500 a year for the chair position. And it would be roughly 100 times $700 for the commission members, roughly for the year. No.
Well, that's
wrong.
only-
That's wrong.
Don't try to add up.
1,400. Yeah.
Yeah, don't try to add up the totals. All we're trying to do is get them to an hourly rate because
Right.
this
There's
year could be
meetings.
very heavy in meetings and the following year might not be heavy.
And
in
the,
meetings.
yeah, and this past year, there's been not as many.
Right, there's
so-
been, I think, 3 cancellations this year in meetings,
I
so.
think there'll be a lot of study. It's going to be needed this
I-
year, though. I mean, they're going to have to do a lot of study.
Well, again, I think part of what was accomplished is that we hired consultants to write our zoning ordinance, and the key there is for them to review it in conjunction with the public, at the public hearings. So I like your 240 and 120, Alan. Any objections to that? If not, then I will make a motion.
I didn't write that down, so you said 240.
Yeah, I will make the motion to increase the PC chair person to $240 per meeting. I think we have to do them individually, or at this level, can we do them
We don't,
together
we don't need to make motions on these.
for each one?
Just go
No.
down.
All right,
one.
and PC commission members,
It's basically the board that we needed to,
at $120 per meeting. Do I have a second?
Are you going to, or you're not going to go to the ZBA? Yeah,
No,
you want a second?
no.
I'll second it.
All right. Motion's been made and seconded to increase the planning commission chairperson to $240 per meeting and the planning commission members to $120 per meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. So we are at 40, 120. The zoning board, I agree with you, Sharon. I think we remove the secretary.
Who does the packets and so forth? Is that the zoning
That's-
admin
The
Yes.
zoning admin.
or the
yes.
assistant admin?
Yes.
I think it's
assistant-
Jackie, yeah.
Assistant zoning administration. She's responsible for that and the meetings and all of that. So we can remove that. I think we ought to do the same for both the chairperson and the board members and alternates, because they all have to do the same prep work. So I will make the motion to increase the zoning board of appeals chairperson to $240 per meeting, And for ZBA board members and alternates to $120 per meeting.
Now, the alternate has to be at the meeting, correct?
Yep, and have to be prepped, so they have to do all the same amount of work as the
Okay,
regular
just
members.
making sure.
Yep. Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
All right, the motion has been moved and seconded. For the ZBA chairperson, make $240 per meeting, and for ZBA members and alternate, $120 per meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 4-0 for the Planning Commission. Board of Review members. I think
They're pretty quiet. There's not a lot to
Sorry?
do. It's pretty quiet in those. There's not a lot to do.
no, I think, you know, you're sitting there, really, I mean, on the meetings, most of the meetings have been really quiet, not more than 30 minutes. I think $50 is appropriate. But I think, what's the meeting in March?
March, you have two separate meetings. You have a daytime and a nighttime, so they get
Right.
double pay. So it's a March board review, you have those
Yeah.
hours. And everything in between there, the laws have changed so dramatically that the assessor makes a lot of changes. So such as this, we just had the December board review. You don't have the PREs, you don't have all those things that they used to be able to come to the board review. It's very simple things now. So we had one clerical error and that was it. So the assessor can do most of those changes now with the law changes. So primarily, the biggest workload that they have would be March board review. And there's 2 days and 2 shifts, and they get a shift pay for AM and a shift pay for PM. So, and
But that's 3 hours at each shift, so it's 6 hours. And for 6 hours, so they're making,
currently $100 or no,
no, they're making 50 per meeting
well, that's 50/50. That's
So it's-
$100.
for 6 hours, so they're making $8 an hour. I kind of think that's kind of, you know, I mean, that's not valuing their
And
time.
that's really basically the only time,
Where they
December board
really,
review and then July board review. There's again,
those are just reviewing the minutes and any of the
Yeah.
odds and
yeah,
ends.
right.
So I don't mind that. I would like to set up the March Board of Review to be different, to be $100 per meeting.
That's what the committee recommended.
Well, only because the committee didn't take into account that we paid for those 2 sheets. So we did already pay $100, Kathy. And I brought that up
But
at the meeting.
that's fine.
So
I'm still
the
back.
committee was saying that they thought they made $50 for the whole day. And I made a correction to their committee report saying that was inaccurate.
Well, they were saying an increase of 100 per meeting would bring them in line with the planning and the ZBA positions. That's all.
But their analysis was wrong.
Well, that's fine.
That's what I'm saying.
They did the analysis. We use it as a reference. And if we're not comfortable with it, just, we don't have to follow it. They gave us some guidelines.
Right.
My feeling is that.
See, their analysis, I mean, their work study, the survey was inaccurate. That's what I was pointing out.
Well,
And that's the only reason that they gave an analysis the way they did because of,
that's
Yeah,
fine,
so-
but I'm still back to, they're sitting there for 3 hours at $8 an hour. And I
Okay.
don't agree with that. I mean, at least $16 an hour would get you $100 for each of the meetings
so
in
you're
March.
gonna excuse them from the meeting if they want other work to do?
Well, I mean, that's fine. I mean, they're on call. It's no different than a consultant. If a consultant's sitting there and you don't give him work, he's going to bill you for the time he's got to sit there.
But,
So-
but collect pay from the other job that you're doing
Well,
then?
And, well,
What are you talking about?
otherwise, what we want to do then is say that they make $16, whatever, 3 hours into $100. Whatever that number is.
33.33.
16.33, right? Something like that. And you only get paid that if you've fulfilled the hours, and we will track it in increments of 15 minutes. Now, you want to get down to those details?
No.
I'm just
Sharon?
saying, there's,
Sharon, for what we're talking about money, is that what you want to get?
but
to?
you're asking to go from 50 to what, $100 you said?
I'm saying we have a new line item called March Review.
Oh, well,
And
I don't-
and that would be $100 for each meeting, which means they would get 200
oh,
for the morning and the PM.
I thought you meant all the time.
No,
So
no.
$100 for 15 minutes when
No,
they come
no.
in the other times,
Sure,
I'm like,
no.
oh.
No, I made that distinction. I said I'm making a different line item for the March Board of Review so that they get treated differently for that.
I could see that.
All
I
right,
understand that. I understand that now. I didn't understand it earlier
All
when
right.
you said that.
Now, I understand what you're saying because we have one individual who works in the office as well. I'm not going to try and nickel dime that. If there's nothing going on and they can be productive in the other job, I don't get upset about that. But that's me personally. If you think there's a problem with that, then we can then designate that if people leave, that they get paid increments of 15 minutes. But I think we're just,
There's not a
that's-
lot of activity. That's why I'm saying, and board reviews hardly
Yeah, but they're
anymore.
sitting there.
Yeah,
They're sitting there. That's their time that
that's
they
correct.
could
That's,
be
and they're
doing
being paid for
something
that
else.
time.
Right.
And they're getting paid for that time.
So Bob, what's your recommendation for the
Well-
March Board of Review?
So my motion is to create.
That's your motion? Okay.
Hang on, motion to create a new classification under Board of Review designating payment for March Board of Review meetings. March Board of Review AM and PM meetings at $100 per meeting.
$1,100.
$100.
Oh, I thought you said $1,100. I'm like, what?
I mean, am I really mumbling that badly? Judy, did you hear me say 1,100?
Janet.
Oh, Jan, I'm sorry. So the motion to create a new classification under Board of Review for
March.
March Board of Review AM and PM meetings at $100 per meeting. Elroy, you were out.
It's okay, I understand what you're doing.
Yeah, but we're leaving the regular meetings, the other two meetings, the July and December at $50.
Okay, that makes sense, they're very short.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Is there a second?
I'd second that.
Thank you. All right, the motion has been moved and seconded to create a new classification under Board of Review for March Board of Review AM, PM meetings at $100 per meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. The assessor,
That doesn't change.
is
That's
that
a standard.
statutory?
No, that's just a contract between assessor and us. That's,
I understand,
yeah,
but
that's,
what are we paying her for? Because I'll tell you, she does,
she has a contract. That's where her work is. This is for federal income tax scenario set aside.
She has to
Okay.
be an employee.
okay.
It's there for a purpose.
All right, so I'll make the motion that the assessor pay remain at $2,500 per year.
You need to make that as a motion, you think?
Well, I think we're having to establish, otherwise,
We just
how does
leave it.
how does this carry forward? So the motion on the floor, motion to approve
Yes,
assessor salary at $2,500 per year. Do I have a second?
second.
Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the assessor salary at $2,500 per year. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. All right. I would, groundskeepers and building grounds maintenance are the same?
Well,
Recommended percent increase?
yes.
Well, what I need is what is 4% of $16.65?
33.3.
16.65
What is
times
this?
1.04.
16.65 times
1.04.
Takes it up to $17.32.
So $17.30.
32.
I know, but I'm not,
30, yep,
I'm not doing
right.
that penny.
For 1750? 30?
I'd say 1730, it's 4%. That pretty much matches.
It's actually 17.31.6,
Yeah.
so it's,
Sharon?
yeah, that's what I'm saying,
1730.
she was saying.
And I would agree, put that along with the buildings grounds.
To what extent does Alan get into the mechanical stuff here? Anything at all?
Whenever I call them,
Yeah, I know.
He gets into the
He knows
furnace stuff and all that.
I know, and he knows it. He knows the wiring.
Yeah.
And, it seems to me that, I don't know if you want to, of course, he's got so many jobs. He's got,
he
his hourly
he
rate.
doesn't usually, unless we have a issue that he'll come and check on, and
I just think we're fortunate to have our groundspeople and Alan Davidson.
Alan did take care of most of the cemetery this year because Jerry had open
Yeah.
heart surgery, so it was added work that he was and Wendy were doing
So,
together.
yeah, Alan and Wendy. So that's fine. 1730, any objections to that?
No,
What I will do is we will make a general motion for all these at the end. Or do you want to do them one at a time?
no,
No, all right. The ordinance enforcement officer, I think that's good at $30. We bumped that up, and I don't,
It's a fair wage.
I think it is. The zoning administrator is outsourced. They have not sent me a contract on that yet. So at this point, I would just say that the zoning administrator is on a contract basis and not put $1 there because we will have to approve the contract.
yes. I don't know why we even have that in there because it's a contract.
Well, I think it was because we,
Because I never put the payroll in. This is all from payroll. I never put that in there as zoning and the
Yep.
payroll administration doesn't go into my payroll.
well, that's right,
$75 an
because
hour.
it goes under contract services.
No.
It's accounts payable
Yeah.
instead of
So
payroll.
I would take that line right out of there personally, because this is
Well,
all
it
based
might-
on payroll.
It might change at some point if if
We could add it back in,
you want to take it out.
take it out. To me, it's not used in the payroll system, and this is basically off the payroll system.
All right. Any objections to that, board?
I don't know the difference.
All right.
It's confusing.
We increased the Jackie's pay to what, 21, I think?
Mhm.
I think we can leave that in place.
We did increase that one
Yeah,
previously?
remember we did a.
At 517, we did a
we did an
budget amendment.
And to what amount?
I'm trying to remember. I know,
It was, I don't have the previous one. It was,
well, it was originally 1875, and I think we took her up to 21, and she was in Milton at 23, I think.
21, 23, yeah. Well, we were paying pension, but, so what is it now? It's 21?
I can go back and look in the old minutes. When did we do that? I think we did in the summer, didn't we?
We did it. I'm not sure, yeah, exactly.
We'll come back to that.
Okay,
The clerical assistant, who falls under that now?
we really don't have one.
All right,
But in the event that we ever needed one, it's somebody that would work the counter or whatever. Technically, what we have right now as clerical assistant is the constant contact that's in there. But they are negotiated with their same rate that they do with their scanning too.
Kath, what do you think?
Going back, I would go to the zoning administrator assistant. I would go to 22.
For the clerical assistant,
A zoning assistant,
She's going backwards.
yeah.
22? All right,
As far as a clerical, we really need a range in there because constant contact is making the 16, I think that was,
well, the scanning personnel was 1250 to 16.
where's the scanning at in here?
It's right below payroll clerk.
Okay, recording, liquor, payroll, scanning, yes. So right now, if we do anything with clerical, we need a range in there because currently they're getting paid $16 an hour on that constant contact.
Is that, the clerical is constant contact?
Mm-hmm.
And who is that besides Linda?
That's
Linda.
it,
That's it.
Linda.
So not a they, a she.
I would move clerical assistant to 16.
I was going to say 15, so 16.
Well, she's not going to go
It's-
backwards and pay.
Then it's not that many,
No,
it's not that many hours.
no.
Clerical assistant is 14, correct? Current?
Currently.
Yeah.
We're moving it to 16.
It was just, the clerical assistant was there to, if anyone else stepped in to help doing filing in Kathy's
Yeah.
office, and that was the reason that was left in there was filing clerk or whatever.
We're gonna-
They weren't deputies or anything like that. They were added
So that's-
people.
That's fine.
So do you want a range in there, or do you want to just leave it at,
I'd move it to 16.
okay.
Ellen, if Do you object?
No.
Speak up, please.
I have, no, I would.
All right.
No, I'm fine.
The accounting that was negotiated with Deb, and I want to leave that in there for now
As negotiated, right?
as negotiated, yep. Recording secretary, I want to leave that where it is. It's 50, I believe is it 50 a meeting or?
15 hour.
An
15
hour.
an hour. So I'm not looking to move that. Liquor inspector,
I would say go 23.
23.
We don't pay for that. That comes all strictly 100% of the state money we get. It doesn't come
Okay.
out of our general fund at all.
The payroll clerk, we recently moved to 30.
Leave that.
The scanning personnel, I think we ought to tighten that up. I mean, that's really critical. I don't mind giving them a bump and bringing up the bottom number to 15 and moving the top number to 17. And put the range in there at 15 to 17. I mean,
How much more time we got on that?
they are pretty much done with zoning and planning. They now are starting assessors. You know how many records are there. And then after that, then it's got to go to the clerk's office. It's going to take a year for the clerk.
Wow.
Well, I think originally we were going to, have everything shipped out of here. And Alan at that time said he didn't want all those records going on the road. And to be honest, they wouldn't be doing the job that our people were doing. They
I
would
don't
have
know.
been.
Those records are so
Yeah,
critical.
well, not only that, but as they go through them, they're looking at them and they're seeing duplicates.
Yep.
If you sent it out, they're going to copy everything and you're going to end up paying double because they're not doing the search. But to do the search, I mean, the time that, is it Linda's,
Okay.
Kay, the time that Kay takes to pull staples and paper clips and organize this stuff. And
She's great.
I mean,
So
but it's going to cost us and it's
Right.
going to take time. So I go back to saying that I had a range of 15 to 17.
okay.
That's fine.
So how do we range that when we do that?
Well, normally you say the $15 is somebody that's kind of coming in and doesn't
Okay.
have a whole lot of experience.
Okay.
Once they're on the job for 6 months or 3 months and they're really kicking in, then
Right.
raise.
Okay. Gotcha.
Park attendance. Another, how do we attract people? I mean, as it is, we had some very, very good people. Couple couples that worked as a team down there. My feeling is that that's becoming a bigger job. And until we get some of the safety stuff in place, like the fencing and separating out the boat ramp activities from the park activities, that, I'm thinking we ought to be in the 16, 18, even pushing $20 an hour to get people that are competent and keep the records and
So
do
can we
those
go
things.
16 to 18 and the experienced ones move them up to 18 and we still got those that
That's fine.
are newbies or don't, are young or whatever?
You want to give a bigger range, 16 to 20?
No?
Well,
That's too big of a range, in my opinion.
Well, I'd look
Let me
at-
ask a future question. Do we know where we're going with the ambulance and the fire department at all? Do we have a guesstimate? Because it makes me unsettled to think that we're paying someone more to sit down there at the day park than we are some of our EMTs.
I,
Do you know what I mean?
I have the same problem because groundskeepers and
Yeah.
maintenance guys too, but
So
I
I'm,
think
I'm
my-
hoping we're gonna kick up the EMS and fire appropriately.
I
as
think
well.
Michael used 5%. I told him to go and calculate his preliminary budget numbers at 5%.
Okay,
But, 5% of $14, is not a lot of money.
I still say 16 to 18.
That's fine. I have no problem. And then we get to the lead, which is something that's what Virginia was saying. It's tough to differentiate when she's doing lead work versus just watching the park work because it become intermingled. She could be sitting down there watching the boat ramp and then things go crazy in the park.
But
And
she's
she's
never
taking
turned,
the
she's
lead.
never turned in an attendant. She's always turned in lead,
As lead.
always.
All
She's
right.
never turned in attendant. That's why I'm questioning why she would be concerned with that, because she has never gotten paid for attendant all this year.
Yeah, when she's there, she's the lead, no matter what she's doing.
Right,
All right, so
right.
then I would move that to $21 for a 5% increase.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, board. Other item that is not related to ambulance is the item for travel expense per diem for meals, $25. Is that really sufficient?
That hasn't been changed probably
Decades.
in 15 years.
I would move that to 50. It's on a per diem.
which one are you referring to?
It's when an official is attending an all-day meeting.
Yeah, the $35 for half a day, is that what you're saying?
No,
Oh, the meals.
the meals.
Where are the meals at?
The meals it just says, and meals are not provided as part of the registration. The official is entitled to $25 of travel expense per diem for meals.
Oh, I see where you're at there, in that first column, in that first paragraph.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the question is, you guys are traveling, $25, you're getting paid for mileage. I'm assuming we don't turn in things for meals, right?
mhm.
So question is, if you're on township business, you got to be covered for meals. And the question is, entitled up to $25. And insert the word, I'm sorry, up to $50. That way, if the meeting's getting over at 5 and you're 2.5 hours away, you ought to get something to eat before you hit the road. Any objections to that?
No, that has,
Alan?
and that's not used all the
No,
time.
Yeah,
And-
$50 is nothing for food during the.
Right.
These
You
days.
You can't hardly buy a
So we'll
meal.
just change that as entitled to up to $50 travel expense per diem for meals.
And then I would like to go down for the per diem, next one down, the rate of being able to take off and go, raise it from 35 to 40 and leave the 60.
All right? I have no problem.
That's fair.
All right.
Now we have a commission member chairing a meeting other than the elected chairperson will be compensated an additional $25. Do we want to change that?
There was a big bugaboo with
Former PC.
yeah.
And the-
When
and the-
Jerry jumped in and he had to step in. And I forget, he was trying to do a combination of the two or
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm.
You know, my feeling is,
Do we want to leave that in there or just take it out? Or whatever?
I mean, the question is it for a partial
Right.
meeting? Because I think that's what they were basically saying is if the chairman is there and opens the meeting and recuses himself for one piece of the meeting and then comes back in for the balance of the meeting, he shouldn't be docked. She should get the $200, and the person who chairs it can get a little extra for the additional responsibility. I don't have a problem with that. I think they were trying to get two $200 payments, and that one didn't fly with me.
I think that should be spelled out here then.
And that's fine. I think,
That's fine. I mean, it's fine. Somebody may have to step down.
Say it again, Ellen?
I think it should be spelled out here.
Oh,
The same
spelled
thing
out.
happens in the ZBA to some extent. No, they're both the
no,
same.
they,
That's different.
you, in the planning
Well, if the chair had to
commission,
step down at the ZBA, it could be the same issue.
well, if they, as a for instance, if you had two cases, the chair wouldn't have to step down as chairperson. They'd recuse themselves for the one case.
But who runs the meeting?
Well, then that would be the co-chair would run the meeting and we would pay them an extra $25 for running it for that particular
Correct, just like
segment.
you would with the planning commission.
Right.
You need to have competency at
Right.
that. front
Right, we're
table.
not questioning that. I
Yeah,
said,
no,
is
that's why I'm
this,
saying, that's why you want.
that's what I'm
you
saying,
want-
is additional 25 meet the standard is what I'm asking. I mean, that doesn't happen very often.
No, in fact.
It only happened once
We
that
only
I,
had once in the last 2 years. I don't know if it ever happened for you. When you
I
were
don't remember
supervisor.
having to step down.
But the problem was the two individuals wanted to collect $200.
Okay.
And we just said there was recusal for one segment of that meeting. So, all right,
so just leave that alone.
we'll leave that as,
Okay.
other than, well, hang on.
So do we need to,
Alan is correct. We need to clarify a commission member chairing a segment.
Why don't they just chair the whole meeting?
Well, because chairperson is responsible, that's why he's elected to do that.
But if he
So,
can't,
well, there's a segment.
well,
based on-
or if he's absent, what about if he's
Well, if
absent?
absent, then the person chairs the whole meeting, they get the $200.
They get the 200?
Yeah, as chairperson. They will
Okay,
make what the chairperson makes. Our problem is, this is where they come into
right, I know.
the middle of a meeting.
like, well, it wouldn't
A
be a
commission
chairman, but it'd be
member chairing
like
a-
Bob Hawkins had to step out because he was conflict of interest.
Recused.
And so somebody else, but he's not the chairman, but
No.
it'd be that same type of a thing.
So a ZBA or PC commission member chairing a segment of a meeting other than the elected chairperson will be compensated by an additional $25 for that meeting.
So they get their regular hourly rate
Yeah.
plus 25 more.
Right. Well, they
And-
get a $25 bonus.
Additional, yeah.
Yeah. Does that sound all right with you, Alan?
I actually think the co-chair should practice. Because once it happens suddenly, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's almost like, but they should give them a segment to run.
Well, they're there, they watch it all the time. They should know
You
what's
would
going
think.
on.
You would think.
I'll tell you.
Get the right co-chair then.
Well, it's difficult.
I know.
So,
Well, you're gonna have to give me language and
Yeah,
what you just said,
I've
so I
got
can type that
a
in there.
commission member chairing, a planning commission or.
Do we need, because the commission is those two entities anyway. We don't need PC and ZBA.
It's zoning board of appeals. It's not a commission.
It's a board.
Oh, well,
So I'm saying since it's a footnote, I can say APC
Slash
slash
CBA
member,
member.
take the commission out, member chairing a segment of a meeting other than the elected chairperson will be compensated for an additional $25 for that meeting.
Could that happen on the board of review as well?
No, or review, if you're there, you,
You're just hearing.
Yeah,
Right.
you're not getting
You're
paid
not directing
separately.
anything, okay, yeah,
You're getting the same pay.
just a thought.
Yep. So I have that language, but we can
okay.
put that in.
Because then we have room, because we can take it out that board review meetings is defined of, because we gave them a new segment
Yep.
saying March board review AM, PM. It's already been, that's going to be spelled out. So we can take that board review meaning define at the bottom out of there.
All right, board, that completes our
Nope, you
work.
missed one.
What did we miss?
Well, the one below, the Board of Review meeting that she's asking us to remove, then the 15 for lunch and 35 for dinner per person, is that answered up above?
Yes. I did, it does.
Well, no, that's not for meals, that's just for
No?
attending, right? The one above? Evening
It
meetings,
says here, the rate shall be $40 per half day, $60 full day.
but that's not meals.
No,
What's that for? That's the other. Up to 15 for lunch and 35 for dinner. Well, it's that or the township should,
Yeah,
bring it
why
in.
did that, let me study
Well-
that. 'Cause the first one was,
well, you don't, you.
It's
you
for attending something.
Well, wait a
it's
minute.
The 40,
Isn't
60
there-
is for
Isn't it
attending.
6 hours a day? 9 to 12, you get an hour break and then 1 to 4? Because it's over 2 days, right?
you're talking about board review?
Yeah,
Yeah. It's over 2 days. There's 4 segments in there,
all right. So it's 1 to 4.
right?
So we're back to the $100, just, that's actually 12 hours in total.
So they're making
12 hours a
$400,
day.
$200 a day.
So we're okay. We're in the right ballpark.
Yeah, we're definitely, it's an
Uh,
increase.
So what we were doing is giving them an allowance to go out to lunch and for their dinner because.
Not
the
for
other-
them, that's not for them.
For us. That's for supervisor, clerk, treasurer, and trustees. The meals,
Oh, all right.
15 for lunch and 35 for dinner.
There's asterisks for everything.
and then that, you've done the same $50 for other people who are attending. That second paragraph below the pay schedule,
Right.
when an official was attending, it says, you've made that $50.
And then for the board members with the 3 asterisks, those are for like conferences or someplace you have to go that you have to pay for your meals. It's $15 for lunch and 35 for dinner. We can go 20 and 40 on that one.
That's fine.
You can't go to McDonald's for $20.
I went to
You can't
the,
go to Arby's for $20.
What did you say, 50 or 40?
20 and 40. That has been
make
increased
it,
in
make
ages.
make it 25.50. I mean, because I went to the place in Elk Rapids across from the Village Market. Burger and fries and a Coke was $25. I mean, so I'd raise that to 25 and 50.
All right, 25 and 50. I know just going to Arby's is over $20. But these are elected officials.
Yeah.
So you're going to meet, because that's a 3 asterisk.
So going back to just the one above, the rate shall be, what did we say per half day? Was that 40?
Yes.
All right. $60 for a full day.
Let's do the same.
All right, board. So now, are we done? Kath? So how do you think I can do one of two things? I can go through and I can read every one of these things and just say what the new rate is, along with the wording associated with below, and we can vote on all as one. Or you can take it in pieces. What do you think?
I'm just thinking of the record. It's a lot to put into the record
Well, it's a lot to go into the record.
yet.
You could just go down and list them.
All right, so I will make the motion to approve the following pay rate changes.
How about just the ones, the changes listed under township workers? And not identify, and not itemize them.
Well, but I think we want to have a record.
Well,
And-
yes, as suggested.
So, motion to change pay rates as follows. So the planning commission chairman is $240 per meeting. Commission members, $120 per meeting. Zoning Board of Appeals chairperson, $240 a meeting. Board members, $120 per meeting. Alternates, $120 per meeting. Board of Review, board members, regular meeting, $50 per meeting. March of Board of Review meeting, that was
AM, PM, $100 each.
AM and PM is $100 each. Groundskeepers, $17.30.
Bob?
Yes.
You've got another meeting though. You've got that organizational meeting.
They're the regular meetings.
That would be a regular meeting.
Or review, that's just a regular
as
meeting.
short, that's,
So that's the $50 one, you mean? Okay,
Yeah,
keep
those-
on, you're good. Yep, okay, go ahead.
all right. The building grounds and maintenance is $17.30. Ordinance enforcement officer, $30 per hour. Zoning administrator is
By contract.
removed. That was recommended to be removed. It can be reinserted. Assistant zoning administrator, $22 per hour. Clerical assistant, $16. Clerk accounting assistant, negotiated. Recording secretary, $50 per hour. Liquor inspector, $23 per hour. Payroll clerk, $30 per hour. Scanning personnel, a range $15 to $17 per hour. Seasonal park attendant, $16 to $18 range per hour. Park attendant lead coordinator, $21 per hour. The official attending all-day meetings, seminars, workshops outside of the township will be entitled up to $50 travel expense per diem for meals. Per diem payment for conference educational policy, the rate shall be $40 per half day, $60 for a full day. Commission, let's see, a PCZBA member chairing a segment of a meeting other than the elected chairperson will be compensated by an additional $25 for that meeting. Up to $25 for lunch and $50 for dinner per person per day for elected officials for meals. Do I have a second?
Did you want to go with the deputies? We should include the deputies in that.
Oh.
No,
Dep-
deputies were voted on.
They weren't in his motion. He started with planning and
Yeah,
ZBA.
we
But-
were in the, oh, that's right.
Deputies were, there was a motion up above for deputies. You made the
You sure?
motion, Martell seconded it.
doesn't matter.
All
It's
right,
not-
that's right. We did do motions because I got it here in my paper. I wrote them out.
Why,
And you,
why do we do motion for those two, not the rest of them?
Well, because we were going down,
Oh,
we were going in order, and then we just went through all that.
oh,
Do I have a second?
second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. We'll have discussion on motion.
The only thing I note,
Yeah.
under recording secretary, that should be to the right per hour. I don't know if that becomes part of the change.
It
Instead of
is, it says
$50
per hour,
Instead of per meeting.
per
Right.
hour. It's got on there, recording secretary per hour next to it, paid monthly.
Yeah, what happened there, Ellen, is I had an old sheet
Oh, I'm looking at the new sheet. I don't know what you're
Yeah.
looking at.
where we changed that in the, I
Oh.
think that has
Oh,
a
it's on
yellow
here?
marker.
You got it on here?
Isn't that highlighted in yellow on that sheet?
Correct.
Yeah, we
That's what you
changed that.
changed?
That was an
I
error.
was, yeah,
That was an error and we fixed
the
it.
corrected sheet is got per hour. There was some
Well, this red
corrections.
one that you gave me doesn't. It has per meeting monthly.
Yeah, because I used
That's,
the
that's,
old meeting.
yeah, that's,
I just
there was
copy and paste
changes
it
after
before we
that.
did the
Gotcha.
change.
I see what you're
caught
saying.
those changes
All right,
afterward.
just so it's caught. That's all I care
Yep.
about.
Yep.
All right.
All right, so motion's been moved and seconded to accept all the rates as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
Oppose? Motion passes. Thank you, board. Not quite 2 hours. That's still a lot better than we did the last time. Public comment, there is no public. Board comment.
I have some things I'd like to,
Sharon has some comments. I'll start with Alan,
oh, go ahead, Alan.
so you can get ready.
In the snowstorm, we didn't lose a lot of power. You lost some power up in the north end. You didn't.
I didn't ever lose power.
And the October wind was a blessing because we didn't lose power up here. And I know the trees that went down in our area in October, and they would have gone down at Christmas, and we'd have had a bigger mess yet. So in the October thing was kind of a blessing, which I found, thank you. Okay, that's what we have to say. And, but anyways, the other thing I want to say too, and I have this on my mind as we go into looking at fire and ambulance in the next meeting, and that is that I got really upset that people died from freezing in their car in a city in Buffalo. I thought that was not necessary. That just wasn't necessary. So anyways, that's my only thought right now. We have to make sure we're a community. Thank you.
Yep. Kathy?
I have nothing.
I have nothing except, I guess, to thank you guys for the time and working through this. Sharon, your comments?
Yeah, I had my whole list here. Comments, where did my agenda go? Agenda, here it is. Okay. I'm just wanting to give some updates. And so if we could just mark the minutes as being treasurer's kind of updates towards the budget and go that direction. I just want to let you know that I did reach out to BSNA for updates, support fees. And I did contact, wanted the board to know that our contract with Trent Mueller and his firm expired last year, that we're needing a new contract. So I contacted him to let him know that, agree with me, the contract, it looks like it states for the years ending in March of 2021 and 22, so which is ended. I believe that 3-year contract that is now due, so it's something that the board needs to look at and get for the next upcoming.
Is he sending us one?
I contacted him, I haven't heard back yet.
When he does,
Just for letting the board know
I
that
think he
that's.
did.
I also contacted Amy, and I didn't contact Amy, but her contract is, this is the final year, this 23, 24. So we're good there. And then I contacted IT Right for any updates that I need for them, also with our fee schedules
Okay.
stuff. And then I wanted to give this out to the board. This is the current state revenue sharing. that I printed out for everybody.
Did they decide for us?
What it's showing for Torch Lake Township on this sheet here is a change, a percentage change. We went down 2.9%. We went down $3,717. But our revenue sharing is still calculated at 125,026. You could see that on there. Okay, that's just for reference. I don't want to dwell on it. I'm just giving you information for the,
Everybody's went down.
They all went down.
yeah. This is for help with the budget stuff. Anyway, that's that.
Is this for Antrim County?
This is for Antrim County.
Oh,
All right, that's off my list. I just wanted to also update. Been working on this chart of accounts from the state of Michigan for quite some time now.
Did you get an
Where's
answer?
Alan looking at? Been working on the chart of accounts that we've
Yes,
been
I
working
know
on
that.
for quite some time. So we're in a final stage. So I just wanted to update the board that I think our final download will be next week. So I'm going to remind all the board and everybody that they need to be out of the BSNA system on the 9th and 10th until the transaction's totally done. I've had some second pair of eyes with Trent helping me on this too. So it's been a real work in progress to get this done.
Did you ask them when it takes effect?
Yeah,
January?
right after our download.
Right after. What were you and I talking about?
Checks currently
for-
right now. You can continue doing them
ones
up
for now,
until, so I'm
okay.
going to give everybody dates, Bob and everybody in the office not to be in BSNA at a certain time. So that I'll make sure everybody's out
so
because
that's
it
9th
won't
and
work.
10th.
It's, the date's on the 9th. We have to be totally out of BSNA because they are going to contact me at the 9th at 3:30. So you have to be out of BSNA at 3:30 on January 9th. And then then I have to be in the office at 7 a.m. the next morning to do the whole download.
That's fine.
So I will be here at 7 a.m. to do the whole download. So there'll be nobody in BSNA on the 10th until I get the green thumbs up.
That's fine.
So that's just an update for the board too. It's been a process. The other process that has taken me over 6 months to get done was the SAMS.gov that we had to update. And it took my driver's license, pertinent information. They updated everything. It was quite extensive. And the holdup was our articles of incorporation that we finally was able to get through MTA because we couldn't find it locally anywhere else. So that just got completed enough time for us to finish our ARPA reports and everything. So that was a very lengthy, strenuous project that I got done, and with the help of Ted helping me with some of the computer work on it. So I just wanted to update the board on that.
That's a lot of extra work you've had to do this
Oh,
year.
I've done a lot of extra work. Yeah, that was very stressful. And then I just,
That's really not a treasurer's job, is it?
no, no.
Is it mine?
Probably.
Yeah.
Did
'Cause
you
you're
ask me, tell
responsible.
me? No, never mind.
But that's,
Well,
you know,
the project of the chart of accounts has been very lengthy too, so.
Yeah.
But the other thing would be, I just wanted to have the board remind me, I've already got the dates and everything, but I'm just putting it out there for us to remember so we don't forget. We're talking EMS and fire here, but EMS Prevention Week is going to be May 22nd through the 27th. So we have to make sure that we have something in our board packet for our board meeting.
I expect you to remind me of that.
Well, that's why I'm reminding everybody tonight too. It's in my computer at the office in the room, but Fire Prevention Week is October 8th through the 14th. So we'll also look at our board minute calendars to coincide with,
They're in the same months, right?
no, May and
no,
October. Oh,
They're the same months, they occur every year that
Yes.
way?
yes.
Because I go back to the prior year and
Yes.
see if there's
Well,
something, so.
the
we should
dates
see.
are the 21st to the 27th and then the 8th to the 14th. Dates aren't always the same.
Yep, no, that's fine.
So I
All
just
right.
want to update everybody on that. The other thing I don't want to dwell on it, I don't want to discuss it, but the topic came up, and I want to have everybody think about it because it's going to be a project. Our outdoor lights are failing out there in the parking lot. And I think we need to update them. Alan Davidson asked me if he needed to hired a high-low to get up there and try to fix it, whether or not they can even find the lights that fix it. There are a lot of townships and businesses and everything that are going to a much better system that we have here since we built this building in 2008. And we need to upgrade. So that's a project I think we need to discuss somewhere down the line.
Put it in the budget.
We need to talk about it and kind of go from that. So
Doesn't sound like it's going to be a very long discussion. We'll just get it done.
that needs to be done. So I just
All right.
wanted the board to
That's
know that. So my parking lights need an upgrade or,
Just bring it up when we get into the general fund in 2 weeks. Just remember to bring it up and we'll put it in in fact, tell Alan to go out and see if there's bids. If
Well-
we need to, we're probably going to have to bid that thing out, I would think.
he doesn't want to be part of that process, but I know of a lot of companies that have come to me and say, and I know a lot of townships that have done it, because in my chapter meetings, there's a lot of townships that I go through, and I sit through a lot of these meetings and listen to all this. So
So,
we need to upgrade.
so Sharon, just,
Yeah,
if you got 2 or 3 companies, we'll
Bring 'em
reach
in.
out to them, we'll put in the budget for, we can get it set up so it'll take place. in
right.
It
How are they-
really,
how are they feeling?
They're not turning on. They're old. They're burning
Oh,
out.
hang on. Okay.
and actually, the lighting back there is not great. I mean, you go into the back corners and stuff and
Even
It's
parts of the
pretty dark.
building, the lights are burning out, and some of the lights are hard to find and replace. So these
let's-
lights here are, I know different buildings and meetings that I've gone to have upgraded. It was kind of funny because I was off just that one week, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, whatever it was. And when I left my office, I'm there usually every day. When I come back, my eyes could not focus to those lighting. It took me a whole day. My eyes were welting because I couldn't get used to the lights. It's weird.
Well, there's
So
lots
that's,
of things we can look at.
and then the other one thing that we got to continue to finish up then, I'm getting numerous phone calls from these 2 parties that's getting our phone system done.
I told you,
Yep.
bring them in.
Yep, we got to get it.
Well,
It was election time and then it was something
I-
else.
I
And then
know.
now we're in the point where we
That's
need to
fine, but-
get it done.
But that's one that I told you.
So
I
that
would
was the
help
only
you with.
updates I just would like to dwell on. So that's just
Well-
my comments of what has been done and what we need to look forward to. So,
And I received an email today, I forgot, from Todd, and they're going from $185 per hour to $200 per hour.
how dare
Will
they?
be their new contract. And that, he's in that big firm now. So, all right. No other board comment. I'll make the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
8:09.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it is what? 8:09. All right. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, board. And thank you, Michael.